You know that feeling. The night before the biggest day of your life, that electric hum under your skin, a mix of pure joy and fluttering nerves. That was me. 24 hours before I was supposed to become Mrs. Elara Vance. 24 hours before my life was supposed to begin. The hotel suite was beautiful, all white roses and champagne. My dress hung on the door like a promise. I'd been with Liam for 5 years. 5 years of building what I thought was a fortress. He was my rock, or so I believed. He was calm, successful, the kind of man who always knew what to say, the kind of man you feel safe with. What a fool I was. The eve of our wedding was meant to be a quiet dinner. Just me, Liam, and his best friend, Chloe. Even saying her name now feels like swallowing glass. She wasn't just his best friend. She was his shadow, his echo, his other half, the sister he swore he had no romantic feelings for. She was everything I wasn't. Loud, abrasive, with a sharp, mocking laugh that always seemed to be aimed just slightly in my direction. For 5 years, I had tried. I had tried to befriend her, to include her, to ignore the way her hand lingered on his arm just a second too long, the way they shared inside jokes I was never privy to. "You're just being sensitive, Alara," Liam would say, with that patient, patronizing smile. "She's family. That's just how she is." That night, the tension was thicker than the expensive wine we were drinking. Chloe was relentless. "Are you sure you're ready for this, Liam?" She'd purred, tracing the rim of her glass. "Marriage is, well, it's so permanent. No more fun." "Chloe, stop it," Liam laughed, but he didn't look at me. "I'm just saying, Alara seems a bit high-strung. You need someone who can relax, someone who gets you." I gripped my fork, my knuckles white. "I'm perfectly relaxed, Chloe, just excited for tomorrow." "Oh, I'm sure you are," she smirked. The dinner ended, and Liam walked me back to my suite. Chloe tagged along, just to wish the bride good night. "You look stressed, babe," Liam said, kissing my forehead. His eyes seemed off, a little too bright. "I've got just a thing." He went to the mini fridge and pulled out a small bottle of water. "I brought this for you. Special mineral water. Helps with sleep. You need to be well rested for our big day." He handed it to me. I hesitated. "I'm fine, Liam, really." "Just drink it, Alara. For me." And Chloe, from the doorway, "Yeah, Alara, drink up. You wouldn't want to have bags under your eyes, would you? The photos are forever." The pressure from both of them was immense. I was tired of fighting, tired of being the difficult one. So to keep the peace, I drank it. The entire bottle. It tasted slightly bitter, but I brushed it off. "There. Happy?" I said. "Very." Liam smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. "I'll see you at the altar." "Sweet dreams, Alara," Chloe chimed in, her voice laced with something I couldn't place, something dark. I locked the door behind them and started my nighttime routine, but within 10 minutes, a fog rolled into my brain. My limbs felt like lead. I stumbled towards the bed, confused. That was fast, I thought. He was right. That water really works. I barely managed to pull back the covers before I fell into a black, bottomless void. The next thing I knew was pain, a sharp, stinging sensation on my scalp. and a noise, a buzzing, a low, angry buzz. I tried to open my eyes, but my eyelids were glued shut. I was floating in that horrible, drugged space between consciousness and oblivion. I could feel hands in my hair. My hair. My long, waist-length chestnut hair. It was my favorite feature. Liam always said he loved how it framed my face. I heard Chloe's voice, sharp and clear. Hold her head still, Liam. I missed a spot. Liam? I managed a groan. I tried to lift my hands, but they were too heavy. She's waking up. Liam's voice, thick with panic. So, what's she going to do? Chloe laughed. That sharp, mocking laugh. It's almost done. This is so much better. Now she won't outshine me at my wedding. My wedding? The buzzing sound returned, closer to my ear. And then I felt it. The cold, unforgiving metal of clippers right against my skin. Bzzz. Another wave of drugged sleep pulled me under, but not before I heard Chloe's final words. There. Perfect. She always thought she was so much better than me. Now, she's nothing. Just the bald bride. The sound of my own gasp woke me. My mouth was dry, my head pounding. The hotel room was bright, the morning sun streaming in, mocking me. For a split second, I was just confused. Why did I feel so wrong? And then I felt the air on my scalp, a cold draft I had never felt before. My hands flew to my head. I didn't feel the soft cascade of hair I had brushed out just last night. I felt stubble, rough, patchy skin. I lurched out of bed, my legs shaky, and stumbled into the marble bathroom. I didn't want to look. I was terrified of what I'd see, but I had to. I raised my head and met my own eyes in the mirror. And I screamed. It wasn't a loud scream. It was a choked, hollow sound that was ripped from my soul. The person staring back at me wasn't Alara. It was a stranger, a victim. My head had been butchered. There were nicks and cuts, patches of stubble next to completely bald spots. My long chestnut hair, the hair I had been growing since I was a teenager, was gone. It was lying in clumps on the bathroom floor. Dark, sad piles of what used to be me. I collapsed against the sink, my stomach heaving. I was crying, but the tears felt cold. This wasn't just a prank. This wasn't a joke. This was a violation, an assault. And Liam was there. Hold her head still, Liam. He had held me down. He had watched. He had let her do this to me. The fog in my head was replaced by an icy, terrible clarity. I heard a knock on the door. Ilara, honey, you awake? The makeup artist is here. It was my mother. I couldn't let her see me. Not yet. Just a minute, Mom. I'm in the shower, I yelled, my voice cracking. I turned on the water to cover the sound of my ragged breaths. I looked at the broken woman in the mirror, and in that moment, something inside me snapped. The part of me that cried, that pleaded, that tried to keep the peace, it died. And something else was born. I was supposed to be getting married in 3 hours. They thought this would break me. They thought I would either be too ashamed to show up or that I would crawl down the aisle in a wig, broken and humiliated, forever their little secret. No, I would walk down that aisle, but it wouldn't be as a victim. It would be as the executioner. I picked up my phone. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from rage. First, I called my friend Jessica, a journalist who owed me a favor. "Jess," I said, my voice low and steady, "I have a story for you, but you have to be at St. Peter's Church in 2 hours. And bring a camera crew. No, don't ask questions. Just come." Second, I called my family's lawyer. "Mr. Harrison, I need you at my wedding. Yes, as a guest. But I also need you to do something for me. Very, very quickly. I'm sending you some information. I have a strong suspicion my fiancé is committing fraud." My mind was racing, connecting dots I had refused to see for 5 years. Liam had been struggling at his finance job lately. He'd been stressed about money, asking vague questions about my own inheritance. Chloe, who had no discernible job, had suddenly started wearing designer clothes and driving a new car. She's family, Alara. I'm helping her out. I had been so stupid. I looked at my phone, a text from Liam. "Hey, you up? I'm so excited. Today's the day. I love you so much." I felt a fresh wave of nausea, the hypocrisy, the sheer unadulterated evil. I texted back, "I'm up. I'm so excited too. I can't wait to be your wife." A knock. This time, it was him. "Alara? Babe, can I come in? It's bad luck, I know, but I had to see you." I took a deep breath. I grabbed the hotel robe in a towel, wrapping it around my head like a turban. Showtime. I opened the door. He looked perfect, dressed in his custom tux, his hair perfectly coiffed. His face was a mask of loving concern. "Ilara, you're still in the shower?" I had a bit of a rough night," I said, forcing a tremor into my voice. "Liam, something terrible happened. This was it, the test." His face flickered. For 100th of a second, I saw it, guilt and fear. But it was gone as fast as it came. What is it? Are you okay?" He rushed in, grabbing my arms. I started to cry. "My hair, Liam, my hair. I don't know what happened. I think I had an allergic reaction to the shampoo last night. It was falling out in clumps. I had to cut it all off." I hid my face in my hands, sobbing. I watched him through my fingers. He didn't look shocked. He didn't look horrified. He looked relieved. He actually let out a small sigh of relief. He thought I didn't know. He thought I was blaming myself. "Oh, baby," he said, pulling me into a hug. "Oh, honey, it's okay. It's just hair. It's just hair. It'll grow back." He was stroking my back, but his touch felt like spiders. "But the wedding, the pictures, I look like a monster," I whispered. No, no, no," he soothed. "You could never look like a monster. We'll get a wig. Yes, my assistant can go buy the most expensive wig in the city. No one even has to know. It's okay, Laura. I'm here. I'm not going to let this ruin our day." He was managing me, handling the problem. And in that moment, I knew I had him. He had no idea what was coming. "You're right," I said, pulling back, wiping my fake tears. "You're right. It's just hair. It's our day. Nothing can ruin it. Thank you, Liam. You're my rock." "Always," he said, kissing my towel-covered head. "Now I'll go make that call about the wig. You get your makeup done. I'll see you at the altar, my beautiful bride." He walked out, and I saw him pull out his phone, a smug little smile on his face. He was probably texting Chloe. Mission accomplished. She fell for it. I locked the door behind him and turned back to the mirror. The crying had stopped. My eyes were as hard and cold as the marble countertop. "You'll see me at the altar, Liam," I whispered to my reflection. "But I won't be the bride. I'll be your judgment day." The next 2 hours were a blur of calculated moves. While the makeup artist, who I'd sworn to secrecy, worked her magic, I was on my laptop. Mr. Harrison, my lawyer, was fast. He'd confirmed my suspicions. "It's bad, Ilara," he'd whispered over the phone. "He's not just struggling. He's been embezzling from his own company's client accounts for over a year. We're talking millions. And you were right. The wire transfers, they're all going to one Chloe Rennell." My blood ran cold. So this wasn't just cruelty. This was a motive, Ilara. A strong one. He was in deep. He needed a payout. Your inheritance, your family's money. He was going to marry you and then drain you dry. Chloe was in on it. My guess? They thought this incident would humiliate you into calling off the wedding, but quietly. You'd be too embarrassed to make a scene. He'd play the part of the jilted, heartbroken groom, and they'd walk away with what they'd already stolen, blaming the unstable bride. Or even worse, they thought I was so weak, so pathetic, that I'd still marry him, that I'd be the bald bride in a wig, so terrified of being alone that I'd accept his love even after this mutilation. They had no idea who they were dealing with. "Mr. Harrison," I said, my voice dangerously calm, "are the authorities on their way?" "They will be. I've already contacted the DA's office. They're moving on the financial crimes. The assault, that's harder to prove without—" "Oh, I have proof," I said, a grim smile playing on my lips. "Chloe isn't just cruel. She's arrogant. She filmed it." I had checked my laptop. In my hungover, drugged state last night, I'd left my laptop open. And in their arrogance, they'd used it. Chloe had emailed the video to herself from my computer, a little trophy. She must have forgotten to delete it from the Sense folder. It was grainy, dark, and horrific. It showed me, unconscious. It showed Liam holding my shoulders, and it showed Chloe laughing as she held up a handful of my hair before taking the clippers to my scalp. I forwarded the email to Mr. Harrison and to Jessica, my journalist friend. "I have everything I need," I told Mr. Harrison. "Please, just be in the church, front row." "Alara, are you sure you want to go through with this?" "I'm not going through with the wedding. I'm going to host a reckoning." My mother came in as I was finishing the call. She took one look at me, makeup half done, turban still on my head, and her face crumpled. "Ilara, honey, what's under the towel? Liam's assistant was just here. She dropped off this wig." I couldn't lie to her. I took a deep breath and I unwrapped the towel. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. She didn't cry. She went pale with a fury I had never seen. "Who?" she whispered. "Liam and Chloe." I told her everything. The drugging, the assault, the embezzlement. She sat down heavily on the bed. For a moment, she was silent. Then she stood up, her spine straight. "All right," she said. "The makeup artist can go. I'll finish her makeup. That wig is beautiful. Let's make sure it's perfect." "Mom, you're not telling me to wear it, are you?" "Oh, you'll wear it," she said, her eyes flashing. "You will wear it as you walk down that aisle. You will look like the beautiful, perfect bride he thought he was getting. You will let him stand there at that altar feeling smug. You will let him think he won." She picked up the wig. It was a perfect match. Chestnut, long, just like my real hair. "And then," she said, her voice dropping, "you will show them all what happens when they mess with our family." An hour later, I was in my dress. The wig was flawless, secured, and styled. A long, beautiful lace veil was arranged over it, obscuring my face. To anyone looking, I was the picture of a blushing bride. But underneath the lace, my face was set. And underneath the wig, my scalp was burning, a constant reminder of the betrayal. My father met me at the door. My mother had told him. His face was a thundercloud, his hands shaking as he took my arm. "We can leave right now, Alara. We can call the police. You don't have to do this." "I know, Dad," I said, squeezing his arm. "But I do. I have to do this for me. I have to see their faces." He nodded grimly. "Then let's go." The music started, the bridal chorus. The doors of the church swung open. Every head turned. The church was packed. All of Liam's wealthy friends, his family, all the people who had watched Chloe belittle me for years and said nothing. And at the end of the aisle, he stood. Liam, smiling. That broad, confident, lying smile. Next to him, as his best man, or best woman, was Chloe, dressed in a blood-red dress that was completely inappropriate for a wedding. She was smirking, her eyes locked on me. She's trying to outshine me, I realized. Even now. She thought I'd be a bald, crying mess. She wore that dress to be the real bride. I started my walk. My father's arm was a steel bar holding me steady. Step by step. With every step I remembered. Step. The way he dismissed my career goals. "You won't need to work once we're married, babe." Step. The way he'd forget my birthday but fly across the country for Chloe's. Step. The way he'd call me crazy and jealous every time I questioned their relationship. Step. "Hold her head still, Liam." I reached the altar. My father placed my hand in Liam's. Liam's hand was clammy. "You look breathtaking," he whispered, lifting the veil. He smiled. He saw the wig, the perfect hair, and his smile widened. He thought he'd gotten away with it. He leaned in. "I love you so much," he lied. "I love you too," I lied back. We turned to the minister. "Dearly beloved," the minister began, "we are gathered here today." I zoned out, my eyes scanning the crowd. I saw my mother, her face serene. I saw Mr. Harrison in the front row holding a file. I saw Jessica, my journalist friend, in the back with her camera crew pretending to be the official videographers. And I saw Chloe, staring at me. Her smirk had faded, replaced by a look of confusion and anger. She was angry that I looked beautiful. She was furious that her plan to humiliate me had failed. Oh, you stupid, stupid woman. The party was just getting started. And now, the minister said, Elara and Liam have prepared their own vows. Liam went first, of course. He pulled out a card and read a long, rambling speech about trust and partnership and honesty. It was all I could do not to laugh. He spoke of my kindness and my forgiving nature. And so, Elara, I promise to honor you and protect you all the days of my life. There was a polite "aw" from the crowd. He slipped the ring on my finger. It felt like a handcuff. The minister turned to me. Elara? I smiled. I turned to face Liam. I took his hands. Liam, I started, my voice clear and strong. I thought a lot about what I wanted to promise you today. I thought about the last 5 years. I thought about all the sacrifices, all the lessons. His smile was beaming. And I realized, I continued, that vows are about honesty. You just said you promised to protect me, but that's funny, because I have to ask, who exactly is going to protect me from you? His smile froze. The blood drained from his face. A confused murmur rippled through the church. Liam squeezed my hands hard. Elara, what are you doing? He hissed. The smile plastered on his face, his eyes full of panic. I'm just telling the truth, Liam, I said, my voice rising, clear and amplified by the microphone. Isn't that what vows are for? I let go of his hands and turned to the stunned crowd. I'm so glad you're all here, I said, my voice ringing with a cold, bright energy. Because you all deserve to know the kind of man you're celebrating. You all deserve to know what really happened last night. Elara, stop it! You're hysterical! Liam grabbed for my arm. Don't touch me, I snapped, and the venom in my voice made him recoil. I looked at Chloe. She was as white as a sheet. Last night, I announced, my loving fiancé, Liam, gave me a drugged bottle of water. He held me down in my hotel room while I pointed a finger directly at Chloe, while his best friend, Chloe Rennell, took a pair of clippers and did this. And with one smooth, practiced motion, I reached up, grabbed the flawless chestnut wig, and pulled it off my head. A collective, horrified gasp echoed through the church. It was so loud, it was almost a scream. My mother's makeup hadn't just been on my face. She had expertly highlighted the red nicks, the angry patches of stubble, the raw, butchered skin of my scalp. I was a vision of their violence. My own father had to sit down. Women in the pews were crying. Liam's parents looked like they were going to be sick. What is this? What is this madness? Liam yelled, trying to play it off as insanity. She's clearly unwell. Someone help her. I'm not unwell, Liam. I'm just done. I looked to the back of the church and nodded at Jessica. Suddenly, the massive projector screen above the altar, the one meant to show a romantic slideshow of our happy life, flickered to life. What's this, Chloe? She shrieked. Turn it off! Turn it off! But it was too late. The dark, grainy video from my laptop filled the screen. The entire church watched in silent horror as Chloe, her face twisted in a mask of manic glee, held up a hank of my hair. They watched as she took the clippers to my unconscious head. And they heard, clear as day, Liam's voice. "Hold her head still, Liam. I missed a spot. She's waking up. So, what's she gonna do? Now she won't outshine me at my wedding." The church was in absolute chaos. Oh my God, he held her down. That monster. Liam's father stood up, his face purple with rage. "Liam, what did you do?" It was a joke," Liam stammered, backing away. "It was just a stupid, drunken joke." "A joke?" I said, my voice cutting through the noise. "You call drugging and assaulting your future wife a joke? But you see, everyone, the joke is even funnier because it wasn't just about cruelty. It was about money." The screen flickered again. This time, it wasn't a video. It was a series of bank statements, wire transfers, dates, and amounts. Millions of dollars siphoned from Liam's company clients. And the recipient account for every single transfer? Chloe Rennell. "He's been embezzling from his clients for over a year," I announced. "And his little sister here has been his accomplice, hiding the money. This assault was their exit plan. They thought they could humiliate me into silence so Liam could marry me, drain my family's money to cover his tracks, and then run off with her." Chloe made a break for it. She hiked up her red dress and tried to run down the side aisle. But she didn't get far. The main doors of the church burst open, but it wasn't more guests. It was 2 police officers, and behind them, Mr. Harrison. "Liam Vance," one officer said, his voice booming. "You're under arrest for embezzlement, conspiracy to commit fraud, and wire fraud." "Chloe Rennell," the other officer said, grabbing her as she tried to fight. "You're under arrest for conspiracy, wire fraud, and for assault and battery." Jessica and her camera crew were capturing every single beautiful second. The wedding of the year had just become the crime of the century. Liam looked at me. His face wasn't angry anymore. It was empty. The mask was gone. There was nothing behind it. He had been so sure of my weakness, he never even considered my strength. "Elara," he whispered as they cuffed him. "How?" I walked right up to him. I looked him dead in the eye. "You said it yourself, Liam. It's just hair." I leaned in so only he could hear. "It'll grow back. But your reputation, your freedom, your family's money, that's gone forever." I turned away from him and walked back to the altar. I picked up the microphone one last time. "My apologies, everyone," I said to the stunned room. "It appears there will not be a wedding today. But please, enjoy the champagne. It's already paid for. By him." I dropped the mic, and as Liam and Chloe were dragged, screaming and crying out of the church, I walked back down the aisle, alone, bald, and free, to the sound of 100 cameras flashing. 1 year later, I'm standing on a stage, but it's not an altar. It's a podium. I'm the keynote speaker at the National Business Innovation Conference. My hair? It's short, very short. A stylish, sharp pixie cut that I've dyed a defiant shade of platinum blonde. I've never felt more like myself. the career Liam told me to forget. I'm now a partner at my firm. After I postponed my wedding, I poured all that energy, all that cold, precise anger into my work. The career he tried to smother became my salvation. I finished my speech and the room erupted in applause. As I walked off stage, my phone buzzed. It was a news alert from Jessica. She'd been covering the story for a year. Liam Vance sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. Accomplice Chloe Rennell receives 7 years for assault and fraud. Testifies against former lover. Of course she did. Rats in a trap always turn on each other. I smiled, and for the first time, it was a smile of pure, unadulterated peace. They thought they had broken me. They thought they could drug me, assault me, humiliate me, and steal from me. They thought I was just a pretty, quiet, forgiving girl with long hair. They were wrong. They drugged me so she could humiliate me. They did it because they were greedy, weak, and cruel. And they both regretted it. They tried to make me the bald bride, a symbol of their power and my shame. But they failed. They didn't break me. They freed me. They burned away the weak, accommodating woman I used to be. And from her ashes, a phoenix was born. My name is Ilara, and this was not my wedding story. This was my origin story.